Welcome back to another session of Product Like It's Friday, even though it's Monday. And today I want to keep moving along. The last time I feel like I fixed it, it was yesterday. The last time was yesterday, and even now it's fuzzy in my mind what was done. I believe I worked on fixing the bug, adding the background, those kinds of changes. Maybe I can share my screen and walk through some of this. Um, yeah, so fix this issue where this was going bleeding over the screen, added this background, we played around with that. I think we modified, yeah, we did. We modified the timer a little bit, made this wider, brought the icons in, made, um, yeah, yeah, brought the icons in. And then I think Mary said she would look at making the gradient work here in the way that she wanted it in her heart. And then for me this time, let me just take a look at, let's see if Mary put anything in delivery, not yet. So here is the V1 Outlook. Oh, I guess this is under delivery, discovery, yeah. And yeah, we worked on this. We don't have an upload.csv here just yet. And Mary might join us soon, according to my sources. We did the shuffle. We built the shuffle. We made this animate a little bit. That took up a bit of time, but time worth spending, I think. No changes here. Yeah, I mean, Mary will look at the gradient. We did make this change and the wobble. No major changes here yet. I don't want to spend too much. I didn't want to spend too much time on the question aspect because hopefully that's what I'm looking at today. Let me see if there's anything else. I don't think. So this we haven't done yet, which is reworking what this looks like when there are multiple winners. I just had taken what we had here and what we had here and duplicating it with the crown for each person. But Mary only wants one crown. She's a single crown person, and she's like, no, one crown only, and they all have to share. And yeah, I mean, I'll implement this. All of this does not seem like the most alluring thing to me at the moment, given that we've built out so many other aspects. What is more alluring to me, perhaps, is animating some elements here. And hopefully, I did give Mary some homework in terms of reading up on SVG and CSS-based animations. And then also send her a YouTube video on the same topic. And some of these things are fairly advanced, but the purpose of sharing some advanced material was so that she gets an idea of what could be accomplished. We don't have to do all of what was in the tutorials or what was in the videos, but hopefully it acts as a larger sense of inspiration and can lead to, functionality. But for me today, I think I will be looking at how we can represent these questions. So here's multiple types of questions. We obviously have our, we obviously have our basic question, which is kind of hard-coded with these numbers being hard-coded. The operator is not hard-coded at the moment. And so the idea is, okay, how do we represent questions so that they fit into a certain format? I believe we have somebody on the stream. Mary, can you hear me? And are you allowed to let yourself in? Because I don't want to activate you by surprise. You just joined. Maybe you're there. You go. Okay, so no shock, no surprise. Welcome, Mary, to Product Like It's Friday, even though it's Monday.
Yes. Hello.
What are your intentions today?
I have none.
Oh, really? You just
I'm here to hang out.
friendship.
Yes, I'm here for the. I mean,
I think
I can do stuff too if you want, but
no, I think we had. Hold on, wait. Look at
yeah,
that.
top go. Like I remember intentionally moving that bullet point up.
Yeah, so I feel like,
It's working.
yeah,
We're
yeah.
winning.
Did you goal top goal accomplished? I feel we can end this. We don't even have to do the rest of the session. Even the intention of friendship is worth it, you know? We don't even have to follow through, I
Oh
feel
my
like.
god.
Did you did you
Okay.
did you get a chance to dig into, you said you were, the next thing that you wanted to do is maybe some synthesis on the conversations you've had with an unnamed
Yes.
source.
Yes. I did not get a chance.
Mhm.
But I was going to do that in the background today
Okay, awesome.
because I feel like it's not the most exciting thing to watch live
Okay,
synthesizing.
yeah.
But I will share after the fact.
Fair. Okay, cool. Um, yeah, so for me, I just given an overview of um, where we were from yesterday, although it seems like a long time ago to me, and I almost forget, every time I join here, I'm like, wait, what happened? Um, but that's old age for you. Uh, so today I guess my goal is to consider and think about how we can fit or create types of questions and um, and see if we can't turn these into templates that are a little bit more generic and also account for the spirit of the question. And I discussed this briefly the last time. So there's a um, Steph Curry question here, and the spirit of the question should carry the fact that whatever the number is here, that percentage ought to be over 90, right? Like this question, if the numbers were purely randomized, even within ranges, they have to be authentic and honest. In my first run, I'm probably not going to consider images, although I'll keep that in the back of my head so that if it's easy enough to accommodate for images, I'll try and do that, even if I won't implement them right away. Especially when we're creating a template, there might be the case where I might be able to link to an image or describe an image. Although things like this, and the reason I don't want to get into images is one, I don't know how text or latex represents things like this, or even if it can, and the complications we get into by randomizing these numbers, and then also drawing um, based on random numbers. And so these are large unknowns for me. And so I would find it a big win if I can create a template, let's just say, as a starter point, and then later come to the images. So
I love the template.
that's really what it is, right? Okay, so let me think. Why did I purposely came to the top of this section, and then I think when the moment I moved my mouse out, it felt like Notion dropped me right to the bottom. But okay, right. I might think in silence for certain. I might not. I might let's try non-silence. So what I'm thinking is, we already have this, and this is a fairly standard question. Even this is fixed, and these numbers within a range are randomized. When I look at something like this, I'm seeing a subtraction operation plus a multiplication operation, and I'm thinking I probably take it in stages. So with even a question like this, I think I'll create an addition template instead of trying to make it too generic and say I want this to be randomized within one question template. So even for a question like this, I'll probably have a template for addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and they'll all be separate. And hopefully for me, the way I'm thinking about doing this, that I'm just trying to simplify things for myself. So right now I'm just processing this to say, how can I accommodate and simplify both? at the same time. So when I look at a question like this, so this type of question will have its own template. And then this question, where it's mixed operators, might have its own template for one for multiplication and one for division. And I'll probably even fix the location. So in this kind of a template, I'm thinking that I'll simply have these randomized numbers, or let's say variables. And these will be fixed in this type of question. The operators will be fixed, and here the operators will also be fixed. Okay, so that's one thought. And then at the same time, I want to, like, this type of question and this type of question seems so similar that I want to start thinking about this type of a question as well. So, and maybe I'm kind of non-simplifying early on, but I quickly want to consider both this and this at the same time, just so I'm aware. Like, I want to keep this in the back of my head, so I don't go too far down the road with something like this and then have to backtrack too much. But I actually probably will do that. Now that I'm saying it out loud, I'm saying maybe it's fine to backtrack. And maybe I don't want to get, like, this seems alluring, but I actually want to hold myself back. Okay, so let's go. Enough. This is something I used to say at work. Enough yakety yakety, more clickety clackety. And clickety clackety is like, keep, so, let's get to work.
Question before you click clack.
Yes.
How do you feel about, I guess I'm trying to ask, does it feel like I'm slacking off?
Okay, wow, this is such a loaded, like, I feel like you're projecting. I feel like you're projecting because
a loaded question.
Because I did not consider it at all. First of all, you're doing friendship, and friendship is not slacking off. As a it's do I need to go back to the goals? It's literally now I will. Now we'll waste time doing this. Okay? It's
Okay.
literally goal number one. So I don't know how that counts as slacking off, first of all. But no, I don't. The thought didn't even cross my mind. But now you've given me like a rebuttal, which is now I get to dig in deeper as to why it crossed your mind and why you thought it relevant enough, obviously, to bring it to the forefront, right? Because at some point it was in the back of your head, you felt it brought up certain emotions, and those emotions bubbled enough. You said, no, these need to come to the surface. These need to be verbalized. So explain yourself.
I'm just, I guess I'm just in a place where I'm like, like, this is a thought that crossed my mind. Let me just say it.
Okay, yes, I think that's the correct thing to do. But no, I don't think it's that simple, because there's a reason why that thought would have crossed your mind as well. So I don't accept that. While I accept that you had the thought and you said it, that's great. But why? There's more emotions.
I mean, like, I'm here because, well, one, I'm like, I don't have a better place to be, but
Okay, yeah.
But also, like, I'm here because I hope that, like, even though you're driving this part of, I guess, progress.
Yeah.
I hope that I can contribute somehow, like, just as you go through things. But I don't know. And I also do want to, like, I guess, use the accountability piece to, like, move things forward on my end in the background, but it's definitely
right.
Like, there are more effective ways to do it. Let's just say, like,
yeah,
because, like, if I'm trying to synthesize by myself, it's probably faster, but it's probably not as fun.
Yeah, the thought did not cross my mind at all in any part of this process. Just so you're aware, is yeah, it does not even cross my mind to be like, oh. So, and especially if you think about it, early on, most of our work was around sort of discovery, understanding, and design, and I wasn't coding for the first 2 weeks at all, right? And by that time, you'd already come up with a bunch of design-related work. And no part during that process did I also think, oh, I'm not doing anything. You know what I mean? From a like I applied it to myself also because it really is a marathon and not a sprint in that sense. So
Cool. Well, thank you
yeah,
for the reassurance.
yeah. And having that said, enough yakety yak, yakety yakety yakety, and more clickety clackety, Mary. Come on, get to work. Sorry, you did just muted straight away. Okay, so in the code, I'm here at the part where we're randomly generating a question. It happens during create turn, but I believe I'm not using create turn anymore. And it happens additionally during create turns as well, which is over here. And just looking through this again, we are mapping through the active players for any given round. So we're creating turns for a round. And we happen to create all these questions up front. I'm thinking a number of different things, but I don't want to complicate it too much. So I'll begin by, so there's a string question that gets generated at the end of the day. I'm not sure that I want to use this anymore, but even then we'll begin with this kind of a pattern. And I have turn.ts. So I will put my code in like a models thing, even though there's no real database model or database table for this. But models represent data. They don't necessarily represent database data. So I will start with question. Yeah. And where did I go? There. And here, I'm going to ask the model for a question and return a question model, a data structure that represents the question. And as first glance, all I need to really return here is this. And so I might have something like function generate question. And I won't pass in any parameters right now. I will literally just hard code. So we're getting a number one, we're getting a number two, we're getting question and answer, and maybe I return question and answer, right? And then here, I can say const question equals generate question, not passing it any information just yet. And then I don't need this anymore. And here, this can perhaps become question.question. I'm like, should I even call this question? But for now, I'll do this and we'll see. And question answer. And then I can get rid of this. And now I have something. Oh, I need to export here. And I got to import here, right? This is not, yeah. Okay, so now I have extracted this portion of the code into its own module where we're returning this, we're generating this information here. So we can change here, and this does not know any better. Eventually, I want to pass in more data here. So I want to pass in maybe the game itself or the game details, because I imagine very quickly that based on the game, a game might have levels, types. You know, this is honeypot math. We might have honeypot geography. So the game type will be passed in here. And maybe it's too much to pass in the game, but I'm fine with that for now. Okay, but having that said, this much has been refactored. Let's go back and modify this. And just so I understand that my modifications have worked, I'm going to also change this to 100. So when I come back here and go ahead and start a new game. And shuffle, look at that. Look at that. Okay. And start round. Right, already I'm seeing my changes come in and they have been refactored. And now let me see, even within this context, I want to further generate some kind of a template. And maybe at the end of the day, that template will be passed on here instead of it being just a string. I don't know yet. So even the data of the turns might change, or this might just become a reference to a question that's in the database, maybe. Unknown. All of that is unknown. Okay, let me think. What do I want? I want something like a generic way. So when I look at, which is I want to take multiple questions in at the same time. This one has 4 numbers or 4 variables, shall we say. This one also has, order these in, smallest to largest, 4 variables. I notice something a bit more complex in these. All of these are fractional values, but 2 of these are represented as fractions and 2 of these are represented as decimals. Something I did not consider at all before this, which is, and it adds a bit of complexity. It's so easy on a piece of paper just to write the question down, right? And be like, oh, we're going to represent it this way. And the more levels of abstraction we create, the more complex it gets, because now I have to have ways of visually representing variables as, even the value is concrete, the representation is different. So something to consider. Okay. All right. So, but the first thing I want to extract out of that is this idea that even in all of these questions that we see, there are different variables, different number of variables, and different representation of variables. So let us start there. Quickly, we'll check my messages, if you'll excuse me. And everything is fine. I have with me today some chocolates, this Kinder
This is my favorite part.
chocolate that I might eat depending on how I feel. Okay. And I did not bring anything to drink. So at some point I might step aside if I'm parched, and I will get it. Okay. So I'm sort of I'm delaying here, not on purpose necessarily, but I'm trying to give my mind and body some time to really take in the problem that I'm dealing with. And so, all right, so I'm just going to start typing and feeling my way through some of this off. What if I had a variables definition and I said, okay, yeah, this is good. This is along the lines of what I was thinking. And our friend AI has sensed that I want something like this, like I want a more abstract definition of what I am doing, what I'm hard coding here. So that's good. I like that there's a type number, and maybe I can be a bit more freewheeling about this because I might want something like decimal or fraction here as well. Okay, so this allows me to have a num1 or num2. I might even just name this X and Y for now. These names can be anything. The idea is that I can have a num3, num4, Z, whatever. I don't know whether, okay, yeah. So I think we know that we want to randomize these. And randomizing them, so there could be a type as well, and maybe I can have a display type as well, which represents how I want this displayed. And maybe I'm jumping the gun here because I already realized this, but it's not that big a deal. And I'll probably ignore this for now, but it's here just as a reminder to me. Okay, so I have a display type and a type, and this type will be used to generate this value. I also want like a value, which probably can be null right now. And I'll fill this in. So the idea is that I'll loop through these, and based on the information here, I'll try and generate the value and I'll populate it as well. And then I think I want something like const question template. Okay, so I mean, yeah, this is pretty much what I want. Is I want a template, and I'm going to replace these values based on what gets generated here. So I'm thinking I'm going to store these values here, and then eventually this will be replaced in here. And then I want some kind of an answer formula. And here I'm thinking, how would I go about representing a generic type of answer formula? That's not code. So if we look at this is data. It's not code. It's data that will be processed by code. This is not code. This is a template. This is also just data. But when we come to answer, generating the answer, the easiest thing for me is just to do the code. And so I was thinking something like answer function, which takes in the variables. And so this is what I was thinking. AI says, try template, but what would it have done next? I don't really want to, actually don't want to rely on AI this heavily. I want to think this through. Obviously, if it hints something, I might do this, but in this case, so far, it's done what I intended. Here, it did something I didn't intend. And I suppose it gives me a slight idea is what if there are math processors that can take a string like this and execute it? But I don't love it. So I'm going to do this the hard way first, which is to say function, and this function will just do the work of this. And later on, I'll worry about how this can be represented as data. Right now, I don't know. And right now, I'm trying not to care. So just for variable sanity, we'll say this. We'll worry about this later. And now I want to replace this portion of it and then do this work, right? And here we're still actually very much in the first question templating part, with some consideration for advanced things. Excuse me. Okay, so yeah, generate random values for variables. Yeah, I don't want this. What I want is to loop through. So for const key in variables that work, we'll see. As I'm doing this, I also realize this, and I haven't been doing this throughout the entire process. I've been going back to the UI in order to test things. But this is a very good case for testability. And so I'm thinking I might just have write tests. So server tests, models / question. I already forget the format. Question.test.ts. So models.question.test.ts. And perhaps here, right now, instead of having the server running here, I might just be able to run tests. And I believe I can pass it a file as well. So the first error is that the no test suite found here. I don't even know off the top of my head how I would test this. And the reason I want to get into this type of cycle at the very least, even if I won't test anything, is I want it to keep running as I'm changing the code so that I don't have to come into the UI and click through to get to the question generation, right? I don't want to have to keep creating new games in order to create new questions. And so really the whole point of this is just to get data out, if nothing else. So I might just do this kind of an arrangement, and then I can go to my question test. Actually, I'll use this as a template. And now this should change, and I at least just want to get it working for this situation. And now I can import generate question from model questions. So that's getting the right thing. And then I'll describe generate question. Here I won't even care. It does stuff. And the other thing I want is so generate question, and then expect question to have property question. Sure, that's fine. I'll accept this. I don't like this necessarily. Actually, no, I don't not like it either. So we'll keep that, and we'll additionally have something that will probably be incorrect, just so it keeps filling. So I have this failed. It fails at this level. And it's really not my intention here to get passing tests per se, but rather to get a sense of what is being returned. So I visually have an idea of the returned value at all times. Okay. So here I expect, if I scroll up somewhere, to have what's being returned as part of this. All right, cool. And I can probably just turn this off and just work here and just keep seeing this repeated and scroll up and down on this portion here. Okay, so, and even as part of that, yeah. I'm trying to get a little bit ahead of myself, even if I shouldn't, which is, I'm also thinking for a description of question of this nature, and this I'm thinking that we did on stream yesterday, is maybe there's an array that you can pick from here, and the value of this needs to be determined through the, like the value of this needs to be determined through the value of this somehow, kind of reverse calculated. So I won't get into that. It's just a thought that crept into my mind, but I'll try and actively ignore it for now. Okay, so here we're getting this already. So I might just begin to type it already, and we'll work with this slowly. And here I just want a record. I don't want any complication. Record string variable. Let's keep it fairly straightforward. And now this starts working. And here the entire assumption is that I'm always generating random variables, random values between this and this with some minimum value. I will accept this for now. I think that's a fairly okay assumption to make. I don't love it, but I think it's a fairly okay assumption. And here I'll console.log the variables, just so I can now see them here. So yeah, it's just simply just generating a populating the values. Okay, that works. And now I want to have these values replaced in my template. Yeah, replace the variables in the question with their values. Okay. Yeah, this is a very fair way of accomplishing this. Just reviewing this code. Something's been redeclared. Because I'm going to use question later. You think that AI would know that I did do it? Like I have a question variable, it named this something slightly different, but no, it doesn't. It does not care. Okay, and here's the potential that value is probably null. I'm actually going to ignore this for now. We're going to say, hey, just trust us. So now I can get rid of this. I have my question that was generated, so I could get rid of this. And now I want my answer. What's it trying to do? It's just not at all. Not at all. What? What is this? Okay. No. My thing takes in vars, and I'm gonna say, this can be just my vars, right? Okay, so its problem is that the values are probably null, and again, I'll just say don't care, don't worry about it. And if it causes bugs later on, that's fine. I generally do not want to worry about it right now. And maybe that's enough of a hint. It's not enough of a hint. So I'm going to have to say constant answer equals this. Okay. Surprising. Again, it's like it's. Okay, that's fine. Now, when I look at this, I expect the question to be this. So in this format, and I expect the answers to be in this format. And I'm still returning question and answer here. But a good part of me also wants to return the variables. So now what I should be getting in return is questions, answers, and variables all together. Even though I did this work here, I still have not decided whether some of this will be executed in the back end or in the front end. I'm doing it in the back end right now because I'm slowly trying to organize the code. But in my sense, like, and so I will put this here as well. Like I want to also send through the question template. Why not? And the idea here would be that maybe some of this stuff should just happen on the front end, and we only send like the question and the variables. Maybe we'll see. And if not, I'll end up removing these. So, but I want to prime myself to think that way. Okay, I'm scrolling back up again. Okay, that's fine. I think this is enough for me to try and generate a new game. I stop my server. In this case, I'll start my server here in this window. And we'll try and see if we can't generate this kind of a template thing next. I'll do it all in the code, and I'll split it up. Okay, yeah. So now we're getting this what is 2 plus 8 business. It really is a word problem, isn't it? And the revelation says 10.0. I forgot. Oh, yeah, the question's over here. That's interesting. Why did this happen? I want to know why the answer is represented as a decimal. It's coming in as an integer here, but so for some reason is being I don't see here why that would be the case. But okay, I'll just ignore that for now. Not really a big deal for me to worry about it too much, as long as it's correct, which is what I'm looking for. Okay, cool. So we have this sort of template business working. And I'm happy to commit this, even though it's like intense work in progress, because it's larger and a failing test, I don't care. And because it's largely functional. And there's some elements of refactoring that we've done here. It tries to convert it. No, that should not be a conversion. Yeah, it definitely doesn't like that the answer is a number here. And so I think I should probably do a toString here. And let's just go ahead and check it out to see whether that addresses this. It might not, but I am curious. It does. Okay. So now we're explicitly turning it into a string, which at least the typing is aligned. Let's take a look here. Answer toString, yes. And then right, so extracted this here, and we're saying generate question. And again, I don't want to spend too much time thinking about what I should be sending exactly here. We'll just do it step by step. Refactored question generation into module. Okay, so that's step 1. Now I want to see if I can accommodate this kind of a question, which makes me want to actually do something else first, which is have something like question templates here. And here I can have and so the whole question template will be a lot of different things. So at first, we are going to have variables here. And I want to do something like this. Why is this not? Okay. So I want to just pull that out entirely. And maybe here I can guide it as record string variable. And so the variables we'll get from here. And no, I even don't want to do this. I want to do this, and I want to do something like addition, yeah. So it's an addition type question, and these are the things. So I'll have an answer function here, which does that. So I can extract it here. I can have a question template here. That's fine. I want to rename this questions. Who cares? Questions. That's fine. And then the question template is gone from here as well. And now this portion of the code will say, get a random question type. And in this case, addition is the only question type that we have. And it started to guide me. It's like, now in this case, it's being smart. It's like, hey, you only have addition. What are you doing? But yeah, why don't we go ahead and do the random thing? And now we have a Yeah, I don't mind this at all. And here, I don't know that I want to begin to type this just yet. Type question type. Let's do it. Let's simplify things for us. And this can be a record of question types, which appeases this error here, or the error that was here. And now the rest of this code is simply grabbing a random question type and the rest of it, it's generating a random number every time, which this might change based on, now I can add in other parameters here, and the rest of this code might be determined by those parameters. Okay, but I'm fairly content with this as a first step. And as a second step, instead of jumping here, I want to do subtraction maybe. And so why don't I just start by that right away, actually. So we have addition and subtraction, same thing, same range. And this will be subtract, and this will be subtract. And now in this case, I'm not relying on that test business just yet. I'm happy to go through this process for this kind of a thing. So now I have addition. Addition, did it even work? It might not have worked at all. No, it did work. Subtraction. So the answer should be -3. Cool. And so now we've at least abstracted this nature of a question type and have multiple types of simple questions. Great. Let's commit that. Refactoring into multiple types of questions. And this, I'm going down this path for now, but I'm not sold on it, to be honest. It might just end up being this, but something in my heart says it might not. Okay. Other thoughts I'm having are like I might have this idea of a level or, difficulty, and specify that. And because you could get super abstract, but I kind of don't want to. Which is, I'm not going to do this right now, but I just want to discuss some thoughts, which is, should there be like multiple types of additions and these values change based on the difficulty, for example? Or should it be like addition easy? I might still use difficulty here, right? Let's just say 1 for now, and we filter out the ones. So as we're randomly generating them, there might be an additional filter somewhere here to say filter out the questions that are at this level. So if the game, maybe as I was talking about passing in the game values here, so the game would specify a certain level. Even the round might specify a certain level, right? And each round might go up 1 level. But all these things later, it's just, that's why I'm like, my heart says there's more complexity here, but we'll begin here anyway, because there's no, you can't follow every complex bit that your heart comes up with. Okay. Great. So I have subtraction. I'm mostly happy with that for now. I'll do this, I think, and then I'll get into maybe multiplication and division. So let's see what happens if we do this. So we'll call this, I don't even know what to call this type of, I'll call it multiplication. Does AI know what I want? AI does not know what I want. How would it? Okay, so I have variables here, x, y. In this case, I'm just going to go a bit different here. I mean, it's very similar, actually. So I'm going to say A, B, C, D, and D. And here, I'll do something like, I'll just type this out. So we'll say A, sure, minus, plus, multiply. So minus, plus, multiply. And here, note that I thought I was going to look into like latex, but I haven't yet, right? But I do have that in the back of my mind, which is even this question template is probably going to change so that its representation will change. Maybe, maybe not. What if we never do latex? I'll probably need to do it once we get here, actually. But maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe, because I have this idea of display type, which might take over some of these. But maybe not. Who knows? All right, snap out of it. Let's go. All right, so I have this format, so minus, plus, multiplication. I have my 4 numbers. I need to change my answer function. And hopefully this AI should pick up from the line below. And it does. And I'm just looking to see here. Maybe this can be 1 to 10, and this can be 1 to 20. And maybe this can, I just want to play around with it. So, and for the multiplication, we'll leave it from 1 to 10. So, and now we have a third type of question. For now, because I want my test to happen fairly quickly, I'm going to comment these out so that there's only one available type of question. And then I'm going to go here. The reason I'm going here directly now, instead of using that testing, even though I set it up, is I kind of want multiple questions, to see multiple questions at once. And so the work effort is fairly low. You know what I tried to do, Mary, just now? This is a natural thing. I was like, oh, I wanted to answer it. There's no way I'm going to answer this in the 10 seconds that we set. So my natural inclination was to press space to pause the timer. I was like, so I actually pressed space. Which kind of,
I thought it could be maybe good to have a pause just in case, like.
I was thinking that too, because I was playing the game yesterday. And as part of that, I was like, oh, if I'm the teacher here, maybe reveal answers too soon for revelation, or too instant of a revelation. I don't know, but and I was like, maybe when the student says an answer, I want to pause and just be like, so that we kind of capture this time being used.
Yeah.
Or yeah, like I don't know what kind of scenarios may arise. It was just a thought. We don't have to do it. It was just a thought that was like, what if? But here, I actually do want to try and solve this problem. This multiply 8 is really stressing me out, by the way, right now. That's 3. That's 21. And that, I'm sorry, I'm not here for this kind of a thing. 21 times 8. So I was wrong. Hold on. 15 minus 3. 3. Oh, no, this happens first.
Yeah.
What a loser. What a stinking loser I am, just as a human being. It's disgusting. Okay, that's good. That's good.
Is this
incorrect? Sorry, yes.
Is this called basic arithmetic?
Yeah. I mean, that's also the whole point of this, you know?
This one, I think we can do.
Is manageable.
Yeah.
For 4 times 1. Definitely not in that 10 seconds.
It's 0.
Also, definitely.
Is it 0?
That's 4, right?
Mhm.
No, it's not. How could it be 0? Mary.
It's wait, 2 minus 6 is -4 plus
Okay, it is 0.
4
Oh, no, I'm
is
sorry. My bad. My bad. I apologize. I can't. I'm not even in
you're
math mode. You're
gaslighting
right.
me.
No, I was just wrong. I misread it. I genuinely misread it.
Okay, this is giving me anxiety.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna try. This is intense. And so here's where the tweaking of the questions is relevant, right? Where you might have a level, but also this multiplication. What if it was like, between 1 to 4 instead? And now all of a sudden we've made a whole host of these questions fairly simple. I don't know whether this will become kind of a, build your own question interface maybe at some point. Definitely, I don't want it to be initially, but those are the thoughts that kind of come up is, look, we have these data formats. They're purely data formats. The only thing that's kind of code is this area. And maybe there's a way of representing this as well somehow in a data format, which maybe AI was going to lead us to. Is just I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't.
Can we make the operators variables too?
It is, but I'm like, maybe for something like this, what if people do just write some JavaScript in order to, like, maybe that's not so bad. I mean, especially if we have a fair way of representing some of these things, just I don't know, just write JavaScript, or we could come up with a language. Maybe there's already a library that converts string math into that processes it, because it can get complex in different ways as well. So I should don't want to think about it all too much either. Okay. Yeah, I think if we go here, this is much easier to do than the ones before. But these details are here nor there. I just wanted to get into the rhythm of creating multiple types of templates that accommodate what I'm seeing here. So I'm going to do a multi-division now, and I'll simply just copy the entire thing. Multi-division. Even the naming of this stuff is like, again, not a huge deal for me right now. So this first question can be negative, or this first number can be negative. Maybe should be negative, right? So what if I said -20 to -1, maybe? And then we're dividing by also a negative number. Probably the purpose of this might have been to say the divisions cancel out. And so we might keep this a little simple here, where we might say, also with these questions, there might also be an additional intention that the numbers are always divisible without creating decimals. I won't worry about that for now, but it is a thought in my mind. So we'll just say from -4 to -1, just to keep it simple for Mary, even though I'm the one who's gotten 2 questions wrong. And then we'll do a, yeah, I mean, here I'm okay. Do something like this, but let's just say just for no reason whatsoever, and let's just say 1 to 8. Why not? Doesn't matter. And here I'm going to say divide. And already I don't have a proper symbol here for division, so I'll go with this for now. And here's where my heart begins to say, hey, maybe it's time for LaTeX. And what if this template was in LaTeX and got converted? And so I think we're getting here. Definitely, I'd be like, oh, I think we should do it. And maybe I'll do that as well. Maybe. Okay, we'll see. We'll see. Divide, plus, and subtract. And then I need to go ahead and change my function here. And away we go. Okay. So let's give this a go. And again, I'll just comment this out so that I get a host of questions. It doesn't like it because I did not comment it out properly, kind of overreached. And get to a new game. Didn't seem like that happened in the way that I would have wanted, because I'm not seeing the division thing. So maybe when I did it, it had not yet saved properly. No. Yeah, because I can't read. I actually commented out the question that I wanted to test. Okay. Right. So this is kind of a scenario where in this question we have, like, it's kind of a mess. Like, so I won't do this now, but definitely it seems like somewhere there can be some indication here that the value of this needs to be dependent on the value of this, or we purposely indicate here that I want even numbers and I want this to be even, something like that. I don't know yet, and I won't worry about it. It's just I do want to be descriptive of the thoughts. I want to verbalize the thoughts that I'm also dismissing at this point. But yeah, just to indicate that I am thinking about them. Okay, so I'm happy with this. So I'm going to commit this as well. And we've spent all this time really. I actually don't want to say addition easy. And all I've done here is added 2 more types of questions, adding more complex questions. But now I do feel in my heart, I want to describe this question as a divide. And then off stream, I did take a look at certain libraries. So there's latex.js. Okay, there is MathJax that I came across. There's also KTeX that I had come across. And I briefly looked at some of the functionalities they provide, but not too deeply. There might be other libraries here as well. Mary, did you had a chance to dig in this area at all?
Yeah, I was gonna say I saw the same stuff,
Mm-hmm.
the MathJax and the KTeX. Don't fully understand it.
Mm-hmm.
It
Okay.
seems to me like they are libraries, like JavaScript libraries, to render the latex
Yeah.
output. Is my understanding.
Yeah. So maybe maybe we can do this together, because I'm going to do some kind of discovery things here, and particularly as they relate to how we can display some of this stuff, and trying to also assess how much range we will have in displaying these, because I don't know exactly what the output of these libraries is. So, we're already kind of noticing here that they have accommodation for dashes and hyphens. That there's an accommodation specifically for text and paragraphs, and then multi-lines. So that would allow us to do something like this and represent something like this in a multi sort of line display. Sorry. And so let's take a look at how some of these are represented. So in this case, I guess that it just converts 2 dashes into a dash, this type for dash, and then into this longer M dash business with 3 dashes. What I do want to do is see if we can't do some inspecting here and seeing exactly what it produces in the HTML. So it's using Use a regular dash here. This also looks as a regular dash, but it's probably an M dash because it's rendered as like a longer dash here. And then the other thing I'm going to try and do is, what happens if I just copy paste this? Yeah, that's a single M dash. There is a notation for how, yeah, I don't know why that's there at all, but okay. Yeah, weird. Okay, all right. And then text and paragraphs. So let's just take a look here to see what it is doing. An empty line starts a new paragraph, and so does /par. Okay. So if you do /par, that specifically indicates, hey, start a new paragraph, and there's that paragraph indent. And then there's some other indications for new lines and such. There's also ways of centering something, it seems. Like there's a begin center and center specifically to center this stuff in the dots here. Okay. Interesting. So begin and end specify something. I don't know what yet. I'm not trying to spend too much time digging in, but it's like some text representation here of backslash and slash, which does get represented as that. And then how is this represented in just as backslash and slash characters straight up? So it converts this into slash and backslash in the HTML. Multi-columns. And you have to indicate that here in the begin clause to say multi-columns. I want 2 columns. And I don't know here. Oh, it just bleeds. That's pretty cool. So it's not like you have to specify what you want in each column the way that I guess the HTML they produce, and I don't know what that is. It also has its class, so there's multi-calls, so it comes probably with its own CSS library, of course. Of course it has to, of course. Okay. I'm gonna jump a little bit to like mathematics. Oh, okay, so that makes sense. Because this is latex, broadly all of latex, or some subset of latex, we're getting a lot of things like paragraphs and stuff and so on. And I wonder in the KText library, because it says it's the fastest math typesetting library, whether it does the same. So one of the things I want to see here, there's our division friend. And I want to see if I can find here math colon. Okay, it doesn't seem like I can search for that here. So mathematical formulae, I'm kind of scrolling here trying to see if I can't catch that somewhere here. No, we're way below. But it does have ways to draw pictures, as well as circles and all that, which might come in handy. Mathematical formulae. And this is how, I guess, fractions are being done, /frac, with n and 2 is representing this here, that n divided by 2 business. And let's see if we can't get to see what that's in the HTML. So in this case, it's a span with certain classes and just n here. And then where's my 2? This span is still the n, so there's a lot of wrapping around it. And then that's all just n. That's still n. Then is that the 2? Yeah. Okay, so that span, if I could close it. Did I even close it? No, so this span is the 2, and I think the divided by as well. Maybe, and this, sorry, is the n, and this is the 2. I don't see the 2 in here. So I'm not sure how the 2 is being represented. Oh, okay. I searched for yes or no here. I pasted it, so my how's it being represented? Okay, so this is the whole thing. mfrac is the class. This is still the whole thing. This is the top. This seems to be the bottom. And that's, where's the 2, bro? Oh, in here? No. I don't even know where the 2 is. Okay, that's fine. I won't worry about it. This is how you represent fractions. That's all. We'll just come back to that. And then f and n equals this. So this whole thing is this whole thing. It's not very legible here, but it's probably not meant to be. But in this case, the idea is that I'm going to change that to a 3 or a 4, and this should change to a 4, probably in a live format. So you can kind of, as you're typing it out, see it working out. Okay. This f at x is represented through this. And they're probably using this $sign to say, keep it on the same line. Like this is embedded, whereas this is its own thing. And I'm assuming that's what the $signs are for. So if I get rid of this, what happens? Obviously, I don't know how to use LaTeX.
It breaks.
So, yeah, yeah.
If you
okay.
add another $sign, does it?
Oh yeah. Will it do what it did below? Yeah. So definitely the $2 signs are to specify it individually. Okay, cool. Or to even maybe start off the specification, right? And to specify how and what it is. And then symbols here. I'm trying to catch the math ones, which are over here. And there's a whole bunch all together. Oh no, I'm just sorry, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Math ones here. Text div, that's how you represent division. And then this thing here, I guess it's just, my assumption it'll just be the text. So theoretically, because I don't know what this is exactly. I mean, how it generates a symbol or what fonts it works in. So I'm assuming I could just have done this because there's no keyboard single key representation of that. But theoretically, I guess we could get away with continuing to not use LaTeX and providing people with symbols. But I wouldn't mind, like, part of me says LaTeX is probably too complex. But part of me says, just learn it. And maybe we never ever in this app get to a stage where teachers are building their own questions, right? So, okay, fine. That's that. Okay, let's quickly see what MathJax looks like. And so just first off, I realized that we're over here with latex.js, we could highlight the formulae specific things. And when I copy paste this, say, and even into these are all the symbols, okay? Here, I'm seeing that I can't, like I'm trying to highlight. I click and highlight, I can't. I'm gonna right click. And it seems like it's overtaken this space. But interestingly enough, there's a copy to clipboard, and I can copy in multiple formats and show in multiple formats. So show text commands. And so I guess this is how, can I move this? No. I suppose this is how it would be represented in latex or text. The square root definition minus b. Okay, and then let's see what MathML is. MathML seems to be a markup language for math. And I wonder if that's what they're using, but I can't right-click and inspect. So let me right-click and inspect here and then see what's in here. Right, so this whole thing is an MJX container. Yeah, these are all MJX containers, and each one of them has a representation in this language. Oh, so where it seemed like, so f at x here, this x is just an x and it's styled to look like this fancy x. Here, it's not even in the HTML. Instead, they use a before styling thing, I would assume, because I see the before there. And there's a content x. I mean, I wonder why they don't just put the x in there, but the value is coming from here. And this is just a regular x, but it's probably being styled. The font family is this specific font. Cool. Interesting. I don't know. I mean, not that it matters for a wrap. I don't love that. I can't. But maybe I should take a look into MathML briefly. Like, is this, because it seems like it's a supported thing. Like, this is Mozilla. It's originally designed as a general purpose specification for browsers, office suites, and so on. Not very adapted to the web. Never been implemented in browsers. Incomplete and inconsistent browser.
It's very confidence inspiring.
It may be the case that certain browsers have enough support. And how would this be rendered? Oh, look at that. And I just want to see. It says if you see 1, 3 instead of a fraction, then your browser may not support MathML. So it seems like some level of, and this is all like highlightable. I guess our friends at MathJax specifically went the extra mile to not make it highlightable. And there's no, oh, wow. I did not know this at all. Okay. Where this says user agent style sheet, the styling for mfrac is coming from the browser, like Chrome supports it. So it is styled. And the math, I'm trying to see if they have it in some kind of a container, like our MathJax friends did. No, this just seems like raw HTML, and it's just plugged in there or just put in there. Whereas here, it has seemed to me, when I say show MathML code, it's under this math XMLNS sort of definition of the spec. It's under this math thing. And then again, let me see. We might not get any work done today beyond this. So it was in some MJX container. And I wonder if an MJX container is some, oh no, MJX, MathJax. That's probably something more custom, which happens to contain. Now, all of these things seem, oh, no, this is not MathML. This is a custom thing. This show as MathML just happens to be like they have the representation in text format, MathML format, and then they have their own format that's eventually in the HTML, which they style on their own. So, okay, so we've learned a few things. MathJax is its own sort of structured math language. There is also MathML, which seems to be supported by at least Chrome. in probably Mozilla to some degree, but probably not in intense complexity. And look at the, like, I like what's happening here, just because it looks so nice. But I don't know how it really works. So let me just copy paste this. Okay, so these are just numbers I can copy. All right, let's take a look at KTags. And I briefly did look at some of this stuff. So the highlighting business seems to work here out of the box. This seems to be some kind of similar latex definition to what our other friends had. Oh, even a comparison, some competition. It says, hey, look at us and look at MathJax. And I think the implication is we're lightning fast and they're slow. This is a GIF. So they're like, I mean, they might be friends, but they're certainly competitors. Okay, documentation for demo, I suppose. Just trying to see if there's any. I thought when I went to documentation, I'd see a slew of, like, you know how we saw this fairly quickly as a playground, and then here we saw a bunch of different things. That's interesting that they're in competition mode, but you know, I'm a couple of clicks in and I don't immediately see, I guess, API in browser rendering. Oh, so this is the actual code API where we pass it a string.raw and then it will render this. And I don't know what it returns on the rendered side. So let's take a look at that. I was really hoping this page somewhere here, we would see a series of examples. With a series of, okay, this seems more like it. With a series of, like, so source rendered. So this will get rendered like this. This will get rendered like this, and so on. I'm just eyeballing here to see matrices. Okay. Alignment around the, it seems like the alignment here is around the equals sign. Okay, cool. I'm having some trouble here, like, oh, because this says B plus C, but this does not look like B plus C. But this ends at F, but there's like a bracket 2 here. I'm not sure where this bracket 2 is coming from. It seems like I can't even highlight it. So it's probably just indicating this is formula number 1, formula number 2, but the spacing seems weird here. And I'm not even zoomed in here or something to break the format. So I guess their format is this. It just doesn't fit in this table. There's not a space here. Yeah, I was just trying to look at for basic math symbols as well. This is interesting too. Okay, let's take a quick look at what it looks like in the HTML. So at first glance, it's not custom markup, nor is it MathML. It is, what is this? This is a D? Is it here? Are they also using, where's the D? I don't see content here either, so I don't know where or how that gets styled. You know, I mean, I am kind of playing around here, but at some point we might just choose one of these, dump it in, and see what it represents inside the app, and then go from there. But I was hoping there'd be a more clear indication here. Okay, that's fine. What else? Okay, infinity symbol. Actually, yeah, let's take a look at this as well. Oh, it is there. It's a little infinity symbol there. And it's styled by. So everything is under .ktext styling.
Why are there two of them? I mean,
where
I
are there
don't
two of
care.
them?
Why? On the table, in the table.
Oh, it seems like there's two ways of defining them. Infin and infinity. It might be part of the text or latex spec, maybe. Yeah, I mean, there's two ways I think about this. Like, obviously, latex is great for the complex, more complex types of questions. Like, if ever somebody wanted to use this, you know, to represent more complex types of questions in our app, I don't think that would ever be the case, but maybe. It does give you a large variation, ability to show fractions in different ways. I definitely don't want to develop my own templating for it. So I'm kind of jumping in two different minds right now. It's like, one, I don't want to necessarily generate my own templating, but this also seems fairly complex is the wrong word, but it seems like it might have somewhat of a steep learning curve. But maybe it doesn't matter, because maybe we use something like this anyway to represent things. And maybe that never appears to a teacher. And if it does, they have to learn some latex. You're a math teacher. It doesn't seem. I did ask my sister what she used. By the way, she's to make her text. She's like, I use Google Docs. I was like, okay. Okay.
Interesting. Fun fact:
Mhm.
KTeX is a library that was developed by Khan Academy. Oh,
I scrolled down right before you said that, and I was like, that is a fun fact. Have you also tried fund lies? You know, people always say fun facts, but nobody says fun lie.
Mean, isn't that like the purpose of the, what's it called? Like the icebreaker game of like the two, however many lies.
Oh, yeah. I think I made a joke around that, saying that I always tell 3 lies because I don't want anyone to know me. So whenever I play that game, you're getting 3 lies. And
okay. But you will learn what other people think of you.
Yeah, I guess so. Because I'll see what the reactions are like. Because I guess when I make up
truths and a lie.
Yeah, so I'm going to tell 3 lies, but then I'll have to cop to 2 of them being like say 2 of them are true even though they're not, right? Because
it's like
but maybe what
lie about the lie.
Yeah, exactly. And then I have to keep a list of all these lies that are truths about me. Because anyway, but that's my desire. Is if I ever play that game, you're only getting a lies from me.
Damn.
Okay, so it's developed by Khan Academy, which means I don't know what that means actually. They're using it. What if they made it and they're like, this is too complex. Let's move on.
Apparently became one of the top 5 trending projects on GitHub in September 2014. I'm literally reading the Wikipedia.
Okay. Is there anything else that you find like highlight worthy?
I guess one thing I noticed is that MathML, the latest version, is from 11 years ago, which is, I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good point. So KTeX had some business done to it last month. Is Matchbox even open source? I think it is. Yeah, open source it says. Although it's interesting that they don't seem to have a repository link up front anywhere. Let's see if I can find Matt Jack's code. Here I don't see GitHub. Okay. 10 months ago. So, I mean, I wouldn't say that's not necessarily that active. I don't think libraries need to be updated every week. Division is /div. So is this even oh, okay. And is this even pure? Oh, there's a try here. Why did I not see the try?
Oh.
Okay. Because I was here, I was sort of fumbling. Try. Okay.
Oh yeah, this is so much better.
Yeah. What happens if I copy paste that? Oh. Huh? Oh. I actually like that quite a bit. Which is if you copy it, it copies into its latex. Not that it matters for our app per se. It's just a nice. It's nice. So if I copy just, let's say, just this bit here, can I do that? Yeah. Will it be just that bit? No, it's the whole thing. I mean, that's not the worst. Copy just this bit. No, it's the whole thing. So it just makes the whole thing available. Which again, it's grand. I'm trying those $ things. I'm like, maybe this will work. What if I had $ here? Is it just so? Yeah, because like even when I look at this, I'm like, do I want to learn it?
What's what's your thinking process when it comes to like, I don't know, choosing a library or not choosing a library?
Features, like whether it's active or not, even 10 months to a year is generally fine. But sometimes you kind of look in here to be like, oh, it's been abandoned based on the number of issues it has or how many issues it has. But this seems to be fairly active. Like 2 weeks ago, somebody submitted a fix, it seems. And so if it's actively also being used at Khan Academy, then that's a nice thing. And then kind of the little details of like, oh, I like this. I do like again, it's totally not even like a huge factor in whatever app that we might end up like if we end up using it or not. But I do really like that I could copy paste it for some odd reason. And then yeah, it's really just the feature set, simplicity of use, and all those things. Are there other KTeX versus alternatives? I'm just going to look here. But the lack of support for diagrams. I did come across TickZ or something like this as well when I was with MathJack supports ASCII Math as ASCII SVG. I had also thought I came across a library, but which I forget. I should have written it down or something, where these were represented as SVGs. And I thought that was interesting. But I do not remember what the library was, unfortunately. Should have written it down or bookmarked it. Did I bookmark it? I did not bookmark it. Just scanning this for now to see if there's anything else revelatory. It's a lot of words. I don't want to read them.
Have you ever used AI to do research for you?
I do use AI to do research for me, but I try and balance it because are you using AI to search for LaTeX, math, JavaScript libraries?
I am now.
Okay, let's do it. Let's see. I think I do use AI as search at times. Okay, what else did I open here? Alternatives. Slow, maybe delayed. Fraction. People suggesting LaTeX straight up. Text Studio. But I don't know if it's a JavaScript library per se. LaTeX JavaScript libraries. I'm human. Okay, thank you. It hurt me. JSX graph and 2.js. I think 2.js is general purpose. Tick X Jax. Converted to the SVG. Yeah, what was that library? LaTeX to SVG. No, these don't even seem like they're particularly powerful. We have some ChatGPT assistants here coming in, incoming. Okay. Help me research LaTeX as it relates to building a math game for a spelling bee like classroom activity. So Matt Jackson KTeX from Khan Academy. PDFs overlay for PDF LaTeX. How do we choose between? Do you already have a decision in mind? You went through this. You've been through. Okay, so you don't.
I think
no choices.
I know how to ask questions, but I don't necessarily know how to interpret them.
Are the most mature. Static games or apps where math never changes. LaTeX plus something else in order to convert to SVG. React components. Okay, cool. Okay, well, I can ask it things. Okay, so MathJax can render LaTeX directly to SVG format in the browsers. Maybe it was MathJax? I don't want to do that. So let's take a look at our friend MathJax that we kind of and see if we didn't miss something. Okay, try live demo. Here's a live demo. It's still doing this business, but I guess that's not as relevant to us, maybe. Okay, so it does seem like some level of these dollar signs, just like LaTeX, are being used to specify like start and ends, and then kind of its own line. Render HTML. I expect this to be MathJax type business again. I don't know, where is this? Can I get in here? Yeah, so it is. I mean, I thought SVG would be interesting, just because of how it's generally supported.
Can we ask our friend AI examples of apps built using?
Did you already do it? Did you already do it in the background?
I did not.
Okay, all right. Okay, then we can do it. Then we can do it. What would you want to ask it?
I don't know. Like, give me some examples of apps or products built using KTEX versus MathJax.
Searching the internet. Um.
Wait, why is it generated images? What?
Notion.
Oh, really? Huh. Ah, that's neat.
It also creates this prior art kind of business, right? Where even though we're using something that's maybe a little bit of a learning curve, but given that other tools have it embedded, it just lends it more credibility. So if you did /math, you can you do this? Can you do dancing graphs?
No way.
So this is nice, right? This is super mathematical. So it is KTEX. KTEX spans most but not all mathematical notation supported by LaTeX, so LaTeX seems more broad. If your equation isn't rendered correctly, then good luck and goodbye. They have some documentation at Overleaf. They're like, hey, go look at the Overleaf documentation for mathematical expressions. Which is good to know, because it's like, hey, if you want to learn this thing, kind of look at this.
I wonder if teachers use Notion to do any prep or anything like that.
Yeah, interesting. Who else? Devon Think, Textifier, Google Workspace. The Auto LaTeX add-on uses KTEX. Oh, Jupyter Notebooks uses MathJax to render later. Jupyter Notebooks is fairly popular. The other ones of these I'm not familiar with. Gitbook, I assume, is maybe some like Git-based book writing platform. Yeah, I'm still flip-flopping between this notion that we'll probably never have to do something this complex. Because I'm looking at this, I'm like, okay, this is fractions.
Yeah.
And while it, go ahead.
Like, is there a, I guess, cost of going with the simpler path for now, and then later changing it if needed?
Sure. It's just I think it's worth, yeah. So like my flip-flopping is because I think it's worth taking a look at complexity of representation. It doesn't seem like, apart from the images, which we said we won't look at, I don't see something here that says.
Are these questions for grade 9?
No, these questions are lower than grade 9. But the problem is, I think grade 9 level questions are probably too complex to be answered quickly,
Mm.
like within a 30-second to 45-second range. So I think even if grade 9 people were playing it, I think it's still a challenge. Look, I'm not in grade 9, but I still had a rough time with these questions, especially in a given amount of time, right, under pressure. So I don't think, I'm not too worried about the level. It's just now we do have to come up with a way of representing this ourselves. And the shortcut of using something like a library is we don't have to worry about representation at all, and we get all these extra features, right? If ever need be, even if need not be. The downside is now we have to come up with a now I'm fiddling with like aligning the pluses with the things and the things. So I'm like, what's the trade-off? That's sort of the back of the mind trade-off thing. But also I wouldn't mind at some level maybe playing around with it. If you wouldn't mind, Mary, maybe taking a look at what's in these docs and seeing, so these B questions are grade 8 level, it seems, 8+, 6 to 8 here, and see if there isn't what kinds of representations there are, while I just fiddle with latex representations. And then, sorry, one path we didn't take, which I did come across super high level, which I think got lost in one of these windows. Is tick something? Tick xjax? Oh, wow, that's intense. Yeah, this is like super intense. We'd never get this complex. Latex. Overleaf. Online latex editor. Latex graphics using TixEd. How deep does the TixEd thing go? This is very cool. I think it produces an image. Still, I mean, come on. Also very cool. Is this? I mean, Overleaf seems super. Yeah, it's not open source. Or it is. An open source online real-time collaborative latex editor. It is open source. What? I mean, this is. It's really cool.
So is this like a tool that, for example, a publisher could use to write their math textbooks?
That's what it seems like.
Interesting. So from the questions, the most complex representations are like superscripts, square root, and fractions.
Yeah. I'm a bit torn. Because I think there are. I mean, we already have like basic representation, right? The thing with even something like this, let's say, where did it go? With this, let's say, is like here. So in our templating, for example, how would we specify even something as simple as a new line? Right? And okay, maybe it's as simple as this. That's fine. Enter. Okay, no problem. But then we do have to convert that into HTML because a new line doesn't automatically get HTMLized. Fractions, okay, so like one, I have to have a way of representing or parsing a fraction and then like represent it. So it's like it gets, involved. I was hoping that this kind of thing would be simpler. Oh, look at this. What is this? But maybe I can just, like close our eyes and just use one of them. Who cares? Oh, so this is SVG, but it's not SVG elements. It's just SVG as an image. But SVG source code is here. I think that's interesting as well. But I mean, I guess we could just say, hey, what happens if we try and just use KTeX? Khan Academy uses it. It has some representation of math. And then we can also just back out of it as well. Let's take a look quickly at how we get it in there. Okay, so there's some work related to getting it in. KTeX next. Since you have it here, we can ask our friend here, how would I set up KTeX with next 3? There's no guarantee that any of this will work, by the way.
But very confident.
Yes, yes. Which is why I've defaulted to like not trying to use AI except for autocomplete in my editor in this process, because even in this process, sometimes I'll get like paths that don't make any sense. I'm like, what is this? What am I looking at? But you're so compelled to use it.
I think for people like me who wouldn't know where to start, it helps a lot. I mean, yeah, I think I'll be like, okay, this is
for
a
sure.
good starting point.
Yeah, but I think it's at times the maybe
like,
this is the maybe this is a discussion we end the session on, which is, it's yes. So it's like, hey, you get the rock rolling down the hill, but in that metaphor, the idea is you're rolling down the hill. All right, that's great. We're gonna get down. The problem is, I feel like sometimes with AI, you're stuck to the rock and you're being crushed multiple times down the hill. So you're like, hey, it's a great starting point, but okay, I don't know what I'm getting into. So now you're just stuck to the AI rock, and it's just rolling you over. And you're like, this error, what is this error? Feed it back into the AI. The AI says, oh, I'm sorry, I gave you the wrong thing. Try this thing. And then you try this thing, and it's also wrong. And you're like, hey, this is also wrong. And it'll say, oh, I'm sorry. And I get this as a developer. I've gone through multiple cycles because I'm like, let me lean on AI. Let me lean on it, and let's try and make this work. So I can only imagine how much more frustrating it would be if you didn't have the extra knowledge. But the promise also is so great, right? Someone at work was trying to make an app using, I forget what tool, but one of those app building tools that would use React Native to code and build out the app. And and she sent me a message one day. She was like, this is the app I had yesterday, and then these are the errors I have today. And I'm like, I'm looking at the error, I'm going, There's no chance. Like I don't even think you could not even feed that error into the AI and it would also not know what to do. Like there's no useful suggestions. Like you've got into an error state here that's like deep C code error. I don't know what to do. AI does not know what to do. So like I can only imagine how you feel right now. And I'm like, you have to step back, you have to go one level back and try something different. And she's like, I give up. But I actually don't know if she gave up or not, but definitely. And then I was like, yeah, absolutely. Like the promise does not meet which is not just to shit on the technology necessarily, but this is where it is. That's the honest expression of where it is. And then you have people coming in saying, like, yeah, I was going to replace this and that. And I trust that it will. And absolutely, a lot of people who are saying that have an economic incentive for AI to replace these expensive designers and these expensive developers. Like, oh, we have to pay these losers a lot of money
we
to
have
make
to
money.
pay
We
people
hate
to
it.
make
Yeah, we
money.
hate it. It sucks.
Yeah.
So obviously they'll want to invest immensely in AI and hype it up, right? To say it's coming, it's going to steamroll you. Good luck and good night. And it has the promise. It definitely does. It's not quite there yet. Okay, let's spend 10 minutes. 10 minutes, that's our limit, trying to integrate what this AI friend tells us. I do use AI for this kind of a thing as well, as a generic starting point from time to time. And so let me see if I had any pending. So I'm going to undo that bit of code so I don't have any pending commits needed. We're going to install KTEX, and we'll also install so there's Ghost KTEX. We'll also install this, which says for CSS styling. And the moment I read this, and this seems real. It seems very real, but I'm like, this is probably the first thing that's going to cause me problems. Just because of how real it seems. Are you looking at this already? Already. Like it says, hey, you want to probably install this. I'm like, okay, no problem. I'll install it. And it's not even in the registry. It's just coming up with words. It's make-up words. It's make-believe words that this is step one. You know what I mean? And this is exactly why I'm like, which is why that time you were like, hey, let's vibe code. And this is why I feel bad too, because you have all this like excited energy to do it. And I have just this like jaded view of it. I'm like, you know what? Yes, we'll do it. But I'm going to watch because I actually want you to go through all the levels of frustration and be like, what am I going to do next? And then I want to reassess. I want to have a session with you where we reassess how you feel about the enterprise. Yeah. But on the flip side, I think AI is so amazing for things that are very concrete, like
yes,
what we used it for yesterday, right? Hey, I want this. You have to fiddle with it a little bit, but you got the wobble, right? I mean, maybe if we came up with the wobbling thing, we would have to Google, look up examples, and learn that way. I do still think there's value in learning that way, because even at the end of it, I kind of still went and took a look at the keyframes to say, look at this person is doing this, and this is how it's generating the wobble. So now I actually learned something versus like a copy paste. If I just did that, there's zero learning. There's just there's a lot of progress, but no learning. And I'm actually afraid of that kind of thing happening. I'm not against it. I actually am for it. But okay, fine. It says you may also. So let's assume it's optional. So here we're going to next config. We already have CSS, so it's not out of the question for us to add more CSS to this. And let's see if our server doesn't start. So far, so okay. Here's a simple example. Fantastic. Oh. Render math.value. And the math is ref. And this ref is what? Oh. So yeah, so this ref is this math. And we're using math.value, which so it's going to render into this div. Okay, let's give that a shot. Okay, let's take even just app.view, which is our hold on. Yeah. Hold on. Localhost 2000 game. But if I went to localhost 2000 straight up, it's this with our full background, which actually looks pretty nice, actually. But it's mostly hidden in the app. So I'm going to go to the call hello page because it's more primed for this kind of a thing. So we'll go back here, and we're on this on-mounted business math and KTeX. So I'm going to grab all of this. Is relevant, and maybe I can just start off by pasting it wholesale, and then okay, we'll get to that in a second. And then the other thing is I want just a simple math ref with a class, and I'll even like put it in front of the H1. I think I can just silence this error for now, but it might cause issues. And here it's saying, oh, you can just componentize the whole thing. And then you would pass it an expression as a prop, and it would render it. Okay. Let's see if we don't get a rendering here. So we do. That's pretty cool. And let's see. Okay, yeah, I mean, this seems fairly usable. Let's now try and integrate it into kind of the representation of the question that we have and into our central thing. So, and again, we might refactor this. I'm going to leave this here for example purposes that I will use.
This is very exciting.
And then let's go into the game. So localhost game. Okay, let's actually start off with a simple version, of course. So to KTeX we go. And we can actually use AI for this as well. Here we'll say, give me KTeX for x plus y. And it's just x plus y. Okay, so that's fine. What else can I think of? Give me KTeX for x divided by y. Oops. No, I don't want to log in. Get out of here. Sorry. KTeX for x divided by y. It thinks it's a fraction. KTeX for x divided by y. And why can't you read my mind? X div y. Okay, so that's what I was looking for. And then we can actually go to the question.ts. And really the, because most of this representation, like, okay, I'll get to this. I'll get to this in a second. Even this is super simple. I'll even get rid of this equal question mark here for now. Just so it's very, and really we're saying slash div, right? That's the only difference. And let's say this whole thing is latex. And then the numbers get replaced. And now we have it in our UI coming straight up. The other thing is I want to know, okay, give me this in KTeX. Assume numbers are in the place of x, etc. So it would have to be represented like this. And so that should be fine. I'm gonna just copy paste this here. Oops. And some consideration for these slashes. Need to be escaped. And then because LaTeX also uses this, it should be fine because our variables are very specific. I do want to get all of them done. Okay, so we have LaTeX, we have super simple, like not even anything. But let's do this as well. I'm also okay with using AI for things like this. By the way, I know I have this very weird line. It's like, especially here where it's kind of very grunt work, like convert this to this, do this to this.
I feel
But
like
even
I feel like the grunt work is where it shines for now.
But it's still a trap though, right? Because and the trap there is it's so it will make up your grunt work as well. So if you still have to verify, like, so if you've passed in a spreadsheet with a lot of numbers, you actually can't trust the result.
That's true.
There's no like you think an accountant can, and right now probably accountants are like feeding these spreadsheets or whatever to ChatGPT, and it's making stuff up. It doesn't do math. It does do math, but it's also doing what if it thinks is or might be math. Okay, sorry. So all of this to say, now we have LaTeX in our template. And our question itself is just replacing these values. So its values replaced, and you should be seeing LaTeX in the front end. So let's actually just see that come up without any processing any LaTeX visually. So we can see what it looks like at this stage, right? Great. So now let's render this as LaTeX. And so we have that example in our call hello page. And here we have our question page. And so the question representation happens here where we say turn question. Okay, turn question is here. Is there any other place where I'm using question? So two places. One, yeah, so just really two places. One is in the actual question, and the other place is in the answer display. So just to keep it simple, I'll span this out by saying, okay, text ref class equals math output. Will it work on a span? I don't know, but it's the first, because that's a div over there. I've used a span over here. Okay, fine. But we'll find out very quickly. And then I'm going to go ahead and define ktext ref here. So now we have that ref. Let's just see if that's still not giving me any errors. And then on mounted doesn't quite work, does it? On it would have to be when we are setting the turn, and then when the turn is being, so the turn gets generated. So we're gonna have to watch the turn. Let me see what watches I have. So I do have a watch here on turn to set this, and I can probably leverage that. To do this. The only thing is our ref might not always be populated, so this might result in an error, but let's actually follow through and see. And then obviously I'll have to import ktext here. Let's do that up top and get that out of the way. And now I have ktext ref going here, ktext ref. Again, this might not work, but let's see. And now here we can say new turn dot question. Let's say throw an error true, so that it does error out. I think I copy pasted too much here. No, I didn't. Oh, okay. Yep. Cannot. So what's happening is, because this is pending, I actually need to do it on two different watch bits of business. Can I do the watch on? No, that wouldn't make sense. So I could probably do something like this. I think if answer state value is pending, right? And ktext ref dot value. I would have expected this to happen. So let's we'll take a look at the console in a second as well. But let's see if it properly even ever gets there. There's a bunch of errors here that somebody should take a look at some point. But I don't see. Does this watch have an immediate? Yeah, it does. Okay. Let me think. We might also be able to do something like this. If you watch pictures, forget what different types of watch effect. And watch effect is probably just a little bit more forgiving, because now what I've done is I've put in multiple elements, and my problem is I need to watch them on all changes. So we're going to do watch effect that's different and individual for this. And then we'll take this bit and we'll get it here. So now this is what it was. We've added a new watch effect, which watches this, and then also watches turn. And I can also say something like end turn dot value, value, and I can say value here. I think. Okay, so that did something. It also converted. So okay. So this is the spot. I'll leave it empty. And now, because it kind of flashed what the original was, and then it displayed this version. So now we have this version coming in with this pure representation. And let's see if we can't do a similar watch effect and get this working as well. So we'll take, I don't want to do a ktext ref on both of these. So ktext ref, I will copy this though for now. We'll leave this here. I'd gotten rid of all of this styling, so it's just, I guess it's just filling in the rest of the space. K-text answer ref. I'll just comment this out. We're gonna get const K-text answer ref, and then we'll have a watch effect on this as well, where the answer state is it doesn't matter what the answer state is. And that answer ref has a value, turn has a value. And then this, and maybe that's good enough for now. So we're here, we reveal answer, and that has a representation. The other thing very quickly is here where I had sort of other stylings. Can I bring in other stylings here? So text, well, in this case, I'm just gonna do that. What if I did this? Do all of the stylings magically apply? They do. And that's very convenient for our purposes, which means I can probably go back here. Oh no, I had already styled that properly. So I had put a span inside a span, which is probably what I want to do. Okay, so I have reveal answer. This works, incorrect, next. And now this is, it seems like we have lost our font styling, right? But let me see if we can. What if I did main.css? Is there any respect for that? Does not seem like there's any respect for that, but also I don't feel the need for this to be a different font necessarily. It seems like the stylings of kind of whatever K-text is generating has taken over, at least from a font perspective. The other thing to try very quickly is maybe making it a div. It shouldn't make a difference, but I'm like, what if? No. Okay, well, here's a full representation of K-text in app. I know all that research and like applying it was actually not like, it took 20 minutes maybe. But I think
That's
the
cool,
research,
though.
yeah, the research part is like, I was more comfortable applying it. I feel if I didn't do that, I might have fumbled it a little bit more, but it felt like I knew what I was getting myself into, and even what yeah, getting back stuff from even the AI stuff and all that. So okay, so we have K-text implemented in our app, and it does mean that we might be able to change the font. So that's like things we could look into is, can we change the font? I don't even mind though, because I actually like that it's in a, like it's so relatable as a test. It's a test font.
It is.
This is the font. Yeah, like it's what I would.
It's not fun.
Is well, did you not think tests were fun growing up?
No. Did you?
No. No.
Okay, it looks like there. Yeah, there might be. I guess we can play with that next time.
Okay. Yeah, something to look into. All right. Let's get out of here. All right, lead us out.
Yeah, I think next session I'd love to share the interview synthesis. I've done most of it. I just have like a little bit more to do, maybe like 30 more minutes. But otherwise, I'd love to share that, and I'm sure we'll continue chipping away at latex.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
All right.
Well, thanks
All right.
for coming to this episode of Product Like It's Friday, even though it's Monday. We'll see you sometime in the future.
Some random time in the
Some
future.
random time in the future.
All right. Let's go home, everyone.